I'll be right back. I got to jump off just for a second, grab some.
Hey, no.
Nathan, can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's up, Phil?
Oh, fine. I just want to make sure. If the audience wasn't able to hear me, they'd be deprived of, the kind of, as I've said, keen analysis that they come to expect.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You read my mind.
precisely.
What's new?
How's my fan club, by the way?
Uh, you mean my wife?
Yeah,
She's doing well. She's doing well.
great. If
She's
she
doing
wants an
well.
autograph, anything like that, you just let me know. Okay, I'll
Just
take
get
care of
You'll take care of it. Aren't you gracious? Appreciate
it.
that.
It sounds to me like you know what this reminds me of? Who was it? Yeah, I do Pilates with this great guy named Omarion. Was he? Oh yeah, he always makes this joke about. Do you got a minute? I'm sorry. He always makes this joke. You know how they have school buses, but they have kind of what they call a short bus for the kids that are a little more challenged, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, he's always accusing me of having been on the short bus, and he's always when I forget something in Pilates, he always goes beep beep. But he told me too that his wife, when he told his wife, she rebuked him about that, just like yours did. So just want to know. I'm often the victim.
My wife is a softie. She's a softie, so
She's
sometimes.
sensitive, I think is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I mean. She
All right.
she's
Okay.
she I'm not sure what she sees in you, but hey, she says she's a good natured soul. Sierra writes, Phil got a fresh haircut for festival weekend.
Thank you, because most people don't notice when I get my haircut. So thank you, Sierra.
What night are you going down to the fest?
I hate to ask you this. This is going to make me look bad, but what festival are we talking about? I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this the jazz? What used to be the jazz festival?
Exactly. Yep.
What do they call it now?
Cincinnati Music Festival.
Oh, okay. All right. Who's performing? I don't even know. I don't even know who's performing.
You got me on that one. I don't know. Orlando, so you going down to the festival?
So I came down yesterday. I stay in a hotel when I'm here, and because it's around, like, today is my anniversary. So we do this whole weekend thing. So yesterday I stayed down here with friends, and now he'll come when he's off for work. So I can't tell you who's going to be there because I don't really look at that. I just noticed someone today said Nelly would be here, and I'm like, God, I'm glad I didn't know, because I probably wouldn't be down here.
Can I just say something?
But-
Alandis, I think your hair, I love your hair. It's beautiful.
You do. I hope my husband hasn't seen it yet.
Well, he'll love it. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's far nicer than Nathan's or Andre's
Yeah.
haircut.
I
Not
agree.
even close.
Your
Not
haircut
even
might
close.
be better than my hairdo.
Huh?
I think your
I am
haircut might be
teasing,
better
but
than my
It's
hairdo.
really a great. I think it looks a great look. I
Well,
really
You know
like
what?
that.
Alandis, we have
Thank
something
you,
in common.
Phil. Huh?
So
What
we
do
have
you
something in common.
What's that?
What could that be?
My anniversary is today as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
How
cool.
many? How many for
Yeah.
each of you? How many?
For me, 26.
Awesome.
As I've
Good.
said before, I don't know your wife, but I know she has the biblical quality of long suffering. Alandis,
She does.
what number is yours?
So we've been together for 26. We've been married for, I think I figured out earlier today, it's 18.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
18
we've been
plus
together.
26?
No, whatever, Phil.
Oh, okay.
See how quick you turn on me?
I do.
You say something nice about my
I
hair,
do.
so I try to
I do.
like
you can't
start
trust
digging
me.
you like that, and then
Can't
sooner or
trust me.
later you flip it.
All right, so
And
go ahead.
I'm
I'll
gonna
listen.
show
How many
up.
total?
Okay, listen. It's been total 26.
Okay.
17 of those are 18 we've been married.
Okay.
And I am getting ready to try my best. Nate, we supposed to be on our best behaviors because, like, we're supposed to feel blessed and to be here with our, So I'm gonna try to be nice
Are
today.
you saying despite my
Mhm.
presence, you're going to try to be nice? Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
and I realize you're gonna make it hard, but I'm gonna try.
Well,
That's the goal.
Andre, you
all
got
I
a
can
challenger
say-
already.
That's all I can say is that's big of you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I can do it. Or maybe.
Andre occasionally defends me, not often, but occasionally. I'm kind of, given he's a law enforcement guy, I'm kind of leaning on his support to, for protection.
Okay. It
see
takes a
that,
little bit more than that.
Yeah, what they mean, he deserves the work.
I don't know. I think he's gonna call in and give you the business, challenge you, or I don't know, something like that. That's how I take it. Nothing more than that. So there's the links. It's right there. Darren Chamberlain, aka Fame Rothstein. Go right ahead, bro. We're here for it. Who else is in the chat here? Thank you so much, Brenda and Deanna. Good to see you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, Brenda. Good to see you. What's up, Ross? The Phil canceled the Black Taste of Cincinnati. Was that you, Phil?
I didn't know there was a Black Taste of Cincinnati. I just thought it was the usual white taste of Cincinnati.
Right. All right. Well, we're gonna start talking about that. Oh man, I got the video and everything.
Too. That's a different weekend, isn't it? Taste of Cincinnati, or is there really a Black Taste of Cincinnati?
Well, yes, because when you just said the other one, yeah, that's normally not us. So we have to get our own.
So and seriously, there is a Black Taste in Cincinnati.
There absolutely has been a Black.
I know. Is that? I'm going to go to that because is it this weekend or the same weekend?
That's what they're going to talk about a little bit, I think. But
yeah, they shut it down.
I'm there. I'm there. I'm into what kind of foods, for example, would they have as compared to the, we'll call the white taste of Cincinnati or the regular taste?
We have spices on ours and salt and pepper.
I'm there. I love spicy stuff. I'm there.
This is J-Rosh. So just to give you some background.
Excuse me. I looked at it. It's like 17 minutes of this guy walking around.
Well, we're not going to play all 17 minutes, but just.
Well, I mean, I wasn't, no offense, going to play all 17 myself. Could you tell us what it is?
Exactly. Exactly. I just want to get to the heart of it, so
Yeah.
we're all on the same page. So J. Raj is a African American man, entrepreneur,
That's
and the
fairly
founder
obvious.
of the Black Taste of Cincinnati, which I think they're in like the 8th year. They didn't do it last year because of whatever. Back this year, and then he decided to do something in a downtown parking lot, and it would just be a lot of like, I guess, minority-owned food trucks.
But are white people allowed to go though?
Yes, white people are allowed to go, Phil.
All right, just want to make sure.
This is America. You can.
I don't want this run like that separatist group that we're going to talk about down in Arkansas.
No, we can't pull that off. No. Okay. So, but this is J. Ross talking about it himself. He put this out like, I don't know, 2 days ago or a day and a half ago.
Yo. I'm gonna wait for a few more people to get on. I'm gonna keep this real short and sweet, or not sweet, or whatever. So let me move across the street because I can't hear. So as of about 3 o'clock today, all our vendors for Cincy sold the Black Taste is supposed to be tomorrow and Saturday have been notified that we are not having Cincy Soul this weekend. The reason why we're not having Cincy Soul this weekend is an employee of the city of Cincinnati by the name of Jerusha Kessler, who handles all the special events, has essentially been calling and harassing the parking lot all week. Since I went live, she's called the parking lot, she's emailed them, and made them feel like, first and foremost, I mean, I'm so mad, y'all, so I'm trying to, like I said, I'm not going to be long-winded. You know, for me, Cincy Soul has been a passion of mine in order to help black people get money. And from first and foremost, if you know, the parking lot we were working with, you know, Mac and those guys down there, we appreciate everything that you guys have been doing because they have been standing strong through a week's worth of harassment. Since I went live last week, they have been repeatedly getting phone calls and emails about not allowing us to do this event. You know, they got phone calls saying that if they allow this event to happen, their parking license would be pulled. They would be subject to fines and other things, really just to keep us from having Cincy Soul. I understand that the city would have liked to have had Cincy Soul to be a permanent event. We attempted to do that. We did it within the time frame that was typically allowed or needed every year. When our permit was rejected this year, we tried to figure out a way to be able to make something shake for our black entrepreneurs, small businesses, and our food hustlers.
So I'll stop it right there, and then we'll officially start the show, and then we can get into it. Kevin Aldridge is leaving the Lincoln Ware show, so he should be joining us shortly. So.
I told you I can do Kevin.
Mm-hmm. You can do Kevin?
Yeah.
Well, then who's going to do you?
That's a good point.
Exactly.
I'm not going to let Alandis. I don't trust her.
Oh, you don't trust her, huh? Why?
No,
she's a black woman, Phil?
No.
Because she's a black woman, you don't trust her, Phil? Is that why?
It has nothing to do with race.
It probably does.
It has to do with personality.
That's right. I don't trust myself to speak on your behalf either.
Okay.
I think that was the right thing to.
She might do the wrong thing.
Yeah, that's the right. That's the right call, Phil.
Anybody can
right
do this.
call.
It's easy. It's a New York Jewish thing. You know, let's say things like I'm from Long Island, and that's basically my whole deal. So
don't forget arch conservative.
I can do I can do the Jewish part, but
okay, great.
Part, yeah, I can.
I hope if you do, it won't be anything to, shall we say, degrade my heritage.
It's the anti-DEI part we don't like.
Oh,
Phil.
come on.
Yeah,
Take it easy.
Phil.
All right, let's start the show. Come on, let's get
Let's
the show
start
on the
the
road.
Oh,
I'm not going to waste my good material without our audience, okay? Without the real thing.
we're back. What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Hot Mic Cincy. Nathan Ivy with you. Got the crew. Raven Monday not able to join us today, and Kevin Aldridge is on his way in. But until then, you got us. We got Alandis Powell with us. Thank you, Alandis, for your time today. How are you?
Good.
Happy anniversary. Got Brother Dre in the house. What's up, Brother Dre with Curse Breakers?
300. What's up with it,
See,
family?
Phil, those are real muscles. Show me again what a real muscle look like.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. This is kind of, these comparisons are not going to be helpful to me. But I will say this. Those pictures you have of us when you start the show, I appreciate the one you have of me because it's it's a bit an older one, in which I'm not so follically disabled, or follically challenged. So I appreciate that.
That kind of looks follically challenged.
Not as much as I do now.
Oh, not as much. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just here to mess with you, Phil, as much as possible. That's it.
Yeah,
just here to
I know
mess
you
with
are. I know you are.
To the audience, really appreciate you. Some of you have been here since the pre-show. Glad to have you. I'll try to get through everybody as we get the conversation started. But we were just talking about J-Raj and the issues that he's having with the city of Cincinnati. Well, somebody said that the mayor recently said that this is a black city. So I'm being provocative when I put it this way. So if this is a black city,
you're always being provocative.
Sometimes. If this is a black city, how is something like this possible? So he puts out the video, you haven't seen it, talking about how it appears from his standpoint at the last second, the city hit him with a whole bunch of regulations and things that he didn't do right, and basically essentially denied him access to a downtown parking lot. And the way he put it in the video, he had a lot of vendors who were probably lined up. I don't know how this game works, but this is probably something you got to prep for and pre-buy for. So I'm sure a lot of people some people might be out of some money. Hey, we got Kevin Aldridge in with us. What's up, Kevin?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Friday.
Hey. You got anything left, bro? You've been on Lincoln Show for 3 hours talking about this.
How come Lincoln never asked me to do that? Why do you always get that? I think I do a good job.
I think you would too, Phil.
All right.
I'd love for you to take on some of the callers.
Oh, I take them.
That would be worth the price of admission. I'd pay for that.
After this show, I could take any caller on.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna take that as I like that. That's good. But we just getting into it, man. We're talking about what else. J. Raj, and I played the video a little bit. He put a new video out today in which he said that, basically it kind of got back to him that, he had some fines or there was some other sort of regulations that he didn't do. A lot of people online are sort of putting this sort of like the city is anti-black business. The city is trying to shut this brother down. He's even sort of alluded to that in his commentary in which he talked about he felt like, he had been targeted by the city unfairly. So there's a lot of history here. And this is where we are now. So people are taking sides and pledging allegiance and all kinds of stuff is happening. We had Christian Bailey on, formerly with Sweets and Meats Barbecue in Avondale, and she put out a whole long response of how the regulations and things you got to do if you want to be a food truck in Cincinnati. So there's a lot going on here, but it seems like a lot of people are pointing a finger at the city of Cincinnati. Is that fair?
Well, because we don't know all of the details, right? Like, to Kristen's point, we don't know everything about, when J. Raj applied for the permits. Did he dot every I and cross every T in the process? I mean, and there are a lot of procedures and things that you have to go through when there are events like this. So it's possible that maybe he didn't do everything that he needed to do to put the event in the best possible position to get it off. We don't know that. But the city's radio silence on this is what is kind of creating a bit of the dilemma. My point today was this: whether he dotted every I or T or crossed every T or not that that's not unimportant, but there are considerations I'm sure that the city could have made, before pulling the rug out from under them at the last minute. Like, to me, that was where things went left. Like, if he's been planning this for weeks or months, like, the time to intervene and be like, hey, no, you can't do this, or you need a particular type of permit, but to do it, at the 11th hour, I just thought is where I felt like the city, could have done better in that regard. And then are there other alternatives that you could do to try to accommodate this so that businesses didn't lose money, so that they could generate revenue, so you're not dealing with this negative press or negative attention or negative commentary that leads into the narrative that the city is anti-black business or whatever. So that was kind of my point, until I hear from somebody from the city make a statement that's like, here's why we said they could not do this, which they could have some very legitimate reasons behind that. But they're not saying anything. And I think that these, food truck vendors and everybody deserve that type of response or answer from the city, from city council, from whomever. But to not have any kind of commentary or to be in the bunker or wherever most of these people are right now, I don't think is good form.
Anybody else? What do you think? You agree with Kevin? What's your thoughts?
No, I disagree with Kevin. Her name is Jerusha Kessler, and it's spelled J as in John, Erusha Kessler, Kesler. Okay, she's over permitting and development process. But what's interesting is you didn't play the whole video, but J. Ross talked about the political process, that he posted a video stating he did take care of business. They denied it. Then he came back and said, hey, we're going to be at this location. And what's interesting is that when you do some research on it, and it says if an application doesn't meet the legal requirements, city staff, including a manager or supervisor, can deny it or requires revisions. He talked about revisions. Some projects aren't decided by staff alone. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because it said they may require approval from bodies such as the City Planning Commission, Historic Conservation Board, or the Zoning Hearing Examiner, or City Council, depending on the type of project. When J. Rod dropped his video, he talked about, I helped a lot of political people. He didn't give names, and he said that they're not answering my calls. So we know that J. Rod was involved in a lot of political process, helping some people on city council, helping the mayor, being vocal about people. And now he's saying he getting crickets. And that is exactly what he said. So this is the process that I be talking about, man. You can sit here now, and I want J. Rod to start dropping names. Who are the people who you had their back? They came after you to get the black vote, to be in that process. Now you need them, and they like, deuces, bro. I ain't messing with you. That's why you need to really recognize that in Cincinnati, the political powers run deep, and they may think you on to something, but you're not. Then he talked about the brawl and how they threw that in there. And if you remember last year, they dismissed the food trucks after 11 o'clock. We talked about it on this show. Man, this was all a rotating process being set up. And at the end of the day, J. Rod dropped some names because they used you. Because I even said when J. Rod got pulled over by the police, I said, J. Rod, look, you are an influence over some of these young people. You got a voice in Cincinnati. They know he does. But the bottom line is now, guess what? They turn their back on him. They don't want to be associated with it, and they're not calling the mayor out, the vice mayor out, Scotty Johnson out, all the people J. Rod was standing next to. He was standing next to these people vocally. Now where they at? This is where you're about to see. That's why I said, man, I don't take sides. I'm here to save lives. I'm not playing these games with the politics. I see how they look you dead in your face, will use you to death, and move on from there.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that if Corey Bowman was mayor, that anything different would be happening right now?
Do I think that it would be different right now?
Yeah, if Corey Bowman was mayor, do you think anything different would be happening with J. Raj, or would it be the same thing?
Well, you in this political monster, man, because 3CDC got their foot heavy in everything. But none of this was even going past the city manager's desk, the mayor's desk, council's desk. They all had a hand in this vote. You can believe that. That a lot of powerful people.
How would they do that?
Because you can't just deny something of this impact without powerful people in the room to do it. So we can't just blame one person. I'm not gonna put it all on Miss Jerusha Kessler. She ain't got that kind of power, bro. To deny something that big in the city, no.
You know why I think they did it, Nathan? I think this is, whether they will say this or not, I still think to some degree this is spillover from the brawl last year. Now, even though the Cincy Soul didn't happen this year and they had nothing to do or weren't connected with in any way with what happened with the brawl, we know for a fact that the city started adding some extra regulations on the food trucks after that, because there was this notion that they said they had some obscure line. Yeah, we're doing it, for public safety and to deal with police resources, right? So there's this implication that food trucks, because they draw crowds, require extra police resources around it to handle that situation, and to use the language public safety implies that you feel like there's a criminal or a safety element that's involved with that. So if you're looking at coming into, interestingly enough, I haven't heard a ton about what the city's police and safety plan is. And if you've heard that somewhere else, I'd love to know where you found it and hear about it. But I haven't really heard about how the city is planning on policing the music festival this year. But I think that some of that probably has to do with, hey, would this food truck event require extra police resources? And Brother Dre can maybe speak to that. Would it require extra police resources? And do we want to have a potential public safety incident around this? And I think it's unfair to the food trucks And to the vendors to try to slap that type of narrative or concern around them, they're just trying to do business, as is anybody down there. And to say that somehow or another they would be responsible for anything that happened, I don't know. But I got to think on some level that if there was a impetus to try to make this not happen, I think that that's probably the more likely reason, and maybe some personal things with J. Raj, than not wanting black business to flourish.
Well, to answer your question about the police, I mean, come on. I was on for almost 30 years, went through many jazz fests, went through many civil unrest, went through all type of taste of Cincinnati, all kind of things. Guess what? They already have a command staff and a process that they know how to deal with this. We've done it several times. It's a contained area that is on a parking lot, and you tripping over people coming down to eat, and it's usually not the people that's there to fellowship and enjoy food among the black businesses that's causing the trouble. So you put the police around the perimeter, you make sure they walking in and out, and they already said they was canceling off days, they was canceling certain events. But guess what? The Omega Psi Phi fraternity is in town for a huge conclave. They didn't cancel that. So at the end of the day, we got to be realistic at the table of what's going on. Was J. Raj targeted? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Targeted by who and why?
Hey, I'm going to sit here and say, at the end of the day, we saw the powers that be on the square. 3CDC got a lot of juice. I just don't think people really understand how much juice they have. They just purchased the St. Francis Seraph Church. They sold that building. Okay, 3CDC bought it. So I'm gonna tell you right now, they saying the city's hand is all in that. You start to see the things and the changes. At the end of the day, when you are vocal and you start to you may have a history, but at the end of the day, J. Raj, even though targeted, is left by himself. I want to see those community leaders that he stood with come back and stand with him. That's what I want to see.
Alandis, what do you think?
I think that I know too much to say anything too much, with the exception of this. There's always two sides to the story. I don't think it was just about black people for this instance. I do think that it had to do with J. Raj and other things when it comes to him, whether we think it's about the power of his voice, what he did do or didn't do. I think it had, it's contained with J. Raj and the relationship that he's had with the city, with this event. I don't think whatever the issues have been, I don't think it started this year or last year. I think it's been something that's been growing and growing and growing. So I'll say that piece. I do think that people had the ability to actually say, well, I'm a rock with him because now he went around the corner and it's a private place, and let that happen. I think someone could have made that decision. I did hear that they were talking through how to make the vendors whole, because some of them already had paid their money, how to make sure they're whole. So how to take care of that. I hear there's conversations about that. I don't know where it'll go. But I think it's bigger than just one moment for this. And then I think lastly, I've gone through getting approvals and they can go to the last minute. It's not fair. It doesn't feel good. It makes you make calls constantly. Sometimes you might not get your liquor license to 2 days before your event. So those things I'm not saying that's right or the process is great. That's a thing. But I do think we need to look at the food truck environment, period. And are we asking them for the right things? And is that completely fair? I think that's a big thing, because I don't know if you've noticed that there was years where they couldn't get started selling for 5 and 6 hours, and they lost money just in that situation. And what would happen is the firemen would have to say, we can't give you permission because all of your stuff isn't done. You get what I'm saying? So it's a lot to unpack here. And I think that we need to wait to hear it. I do think the city needs to figure out how to talk to us more. And And sometimes I'm not sure if they feel like they can, or if they might need to think about how to look at PR a little differently. Because I know they have things that they do a great job at and they don't talk about it. And I know things where they've made some terrible decisions and they don't talk about it. So I really think part of this has to do with PR, strategic thinking, and for us to actually take 2 steps back sometimes and wait to hear the facts before we jump on any bandwagon. I'm a fan of Black people doing Black stuff, making money. So I'm a fan of that. I just think that we need to unpack it a little more.
Yeah, that's good stuff, Alandis. Particularly what you said about the city's communications problem. And I don't think it's just a problem in terms of speaking to the Black community. I think they have a massive communications problem, period. And whether that's positive or negative things. I mean, as somebody who, writes opinions and used to report from things out of City Hall, I for years have talked about just how bad, city government is in terms of their messaging and letting people know what's going on and getting information out. So you're 100% spot on that. They do a horrible job over at City Hall of doing that. And the mere fact that you haven't seen any comment on this statement, and you're just allowing people like us to speculate and come up with thoughts and views without their version of the facts or the information. That just is unconscionable, and it's even more self-inflicted wounds that the city may or may not even need to take. So, I don't understand the logic. I don't understand the strategy behind how they approach things like this. It's ridiculous.
I hear that. I just disagree. I think that was a great, as I used to call it, flow, Alandis. But one thing that stood out to me, which is the kind of position I'm taking, is it's too early. Let's wait until more information comes out. So I think it's real easy. We want to make sense out of things when there's a vacuum. And part of making sense out of things is turning to the city and saying they should be communicating. Maybe they're trying to assess what really went down, what they can actually do about it, and to put together a proper response, which I would appreciate more than a rushed response just to say you said something. It just happened yesterday.
And the city did.
You can have a proper response that addresses, look, again, I hear what you're saying, Nathan, but we don't live in that sort of reality, especially not with social media. And narrative and messaging is critical because by the time you get your well-crafted whatever, people done moved on from that. They done formulated their opinions. They done made their size. And so I'm not saying that you have to come off and say something rushed, but the city has.
What do you want them to say?
They know if you knew enough to tell them that it was canceled, you know enough to be able to come out and explain why, right? And if you can, and what is it to say? Hey, we're working.
He said it was canceled.
Huh?
He said it was canceled.
Yeah,
J-Raj put that out there.
Okay. And 3 days ago, the city actually, or 4 days ago, the city actually took J-Raj's stuff and actually posted it themselves that it was coming, just to make sure you know that they did that on their own, and they actually had it on their little. It might have been Instagram where they actually said it was coming. So that happened a couple of days ago. I will say this. If I was wrong, like as a city, I would probably not say anything because we forget. We focus about 5 to 7 days on issues. And if they can let it go away and we allow it to go away, hell, they're going to let it. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to cuss. They're going to let it go away. So that's a strategy also. The reason why I don't think the city plays that strategy is because they do it even when it's great news that they should talk about. So that's what makes me say they really need to look at the strategic piece. But honestly, 7 days from now, we're not even going to be talking about this. We're going to be talking about something else. And that's impactful, that we need to figure out how to fix so little things like this don't happen, right?
But you know what happens though with that, Alandis, is you're right. People will move on to something else, but they won't forget, because it gets deposited in that mental Rolodex of all of the perceived slights and injustices that have happened in Cincinnati. And people might move on and they might not talk about it, but the next time something happens, people will remember, oh yeah, I remember they did this to J. Raj and they shut down the, Cincy Soul. And it accumulates, right? It's like plaque in your arteries of your heart. When you get a lot of bad stuff, it builds up over time. And eventually it rears its head when people become frustrated. So the city can play that game, or whomever can play that game, like, oh, we'll just wait them out, they'll forget. No, they don't. People don't forget.
But what does that mean? But what does our memory mean if we're not doing anything about it? So it's okay that I remember. You can build up plaque, but if you don't go have a plan to go to the dentist to get it resolved, the only thing I'm telling you is you got, stuff in your mouth. But the question is what are we going to do about it? Right? So even if something comes out to tell us, this is where I always say, until we become a little more unified and understand who's on our team, which everyone who looks like us is not on our team, even down there, then we're just going to keep living with this and have conversations about it and move on and let it keep happening. So
you got to remember this as well, is that the city is still on the microscope on what happened last year with the brawl. I mean, you got a serious microscope. And if you had the powers that be that came together and said, who do we need to get out of the way because we want to make it that this whole weekend was so beautiful, people enjoyed it, and we didn't have no drama at all, then guess what? They probably going to sit back and say, J. Raj and your crew, we're going to eliminate all that because we don't want you even nowhere near the city causing this type of trouble. And so the city right now, I even said on my last post, is almost being prepared for a racial explosion. So the slightest incident that will involve the police or having multiple police go to a particular area, they just don't even want to deal with it. So it's much easier to say, just cancel his permit. That's an extra 3,000 plus people that we're going to be able to just not deal with. And so at the end of the day, I keep trying to tell people, you got to pay attention to this political monster. It's a beast. And you're not running anything in this city when you got some powerful people at the table. And when they say, look, we don't want you around, you're not coming around. And say that people was choking out the permit people, the people that was on the parking lot. They said they was getting a lot of pushback that if you come on the lot, this is what's going to happen. She don't have Miss Kessler don't have that kind of power. That came from some serious people that are having a livelihood even on that parking lot permit. So this runs deeper than what we can even imagine through the process. But J. Raj needs to stop being what I call, if you're going to be an investor and have a PR rep that can handle it and talk to people. Because I know one thing about these powers that be, they got a memory better than God. And they just wait for an opportunity to come back and say, you think you're running something? Wait. Just because your name is on it, we're going to come after you and show you the business. I've seen it several times.
Man, we still live in those days and times? Is this just like the human economy? Like this is all over the world. This is what humans do, you know? If you got a bad relationship, you might run into some issues. You got a better relationship, the issues don't matter as much. Is that what this is?
Yeah, I think it depends on who it is, because I said this morning on Lincoln. If the criteria for doing business with the city is you got to be 100% agreeable, then the city probably wouldn't do business with most people, right? I'm sure they deal with, and this is regardless of color, I'm sure they deal with a lot of people who are disagreeable and difficult to do business with, but the quality of the business and what they're bringing to the table and what's important to the city, you're willing to overlook some of that stuff. I mean, you can't be in politics, government, and business and not deal with some a-holes somewhere along the way that is difficult to work with, but The larger picture is what they're doing, right? And so this notion that J. Raj might have been targeted because he was difficult to work with the city, right? Which is something he said and that I've heard that a lot of people say what maybe why he was targeted. And so to even circumvent that, I heard J. Rod did what you suggested, that he had somebody else, a different front person other than him working with the city on this because of that. But if that becomes the criteria to say that the city is not going to fool with you because you're not 100%, or you might be occasionally disagreeable, then there should be a lot of folks that they're not doing business with, because you're not going to have me believe that J. Raj, if you subscribe to that narrative, is the only difficult person that the city works with who puts on events or does business.
Yeah, but here's the question. Is going on Facebook the right way to handle it? Is going on Facebook and telling anybody what happened and pleading your case to the port? Is that the right way to handle that?
It has us talking about it.
Yeah,
but you also admitted Alandis, that in 7 days we'll be talking about something else.
I'm not lying.
So I'm saying, like, once again, is going online the best way to handle this? Or is it better to handle it behind closed doors? Because you know how it is when you embarrass people publicly. Yeah, it's hard to get over that.
No, I think social media has a strong place. Sometimes you can't get your voice out. And I've proven that just on Curse Breakers 300 or Make It Make Sense Mondays, putting out information that people just don't know about. And behind closed doors, people lie, people are deceived. They'll have a lot of deception. So at the end of the day, yes, he should have put it out there, because I know he felt slighted because he wants that information to be known. And yes, we're talking about it. So a lot of more people are going to be talking about it. And if the mayor is quiet, if the city manager is quiet, and if council's quiet, then that should tell a lot of people that if they're going to turn their face, not even just J. Raj, the black businesses, take J. Raj out of it, that the food trucks of the black businesses, man, you know how much money they missing out on? It's pretty much like Black Friday for them at this fest.
Who is they?
A large amount of money at these festivals, and now that is gone for them.
Yeah, but primarily, you would have got people with parking downtown, but primarily, I guess the case that J. Raj is making is that the people that's going to lose the money are the black-owned vendors, food truck operators, more than anybody else.
Right.
But my thing is, this ain't the first time J. Raj has gone on Facebook talking about this. He talked about this last year or the year before that. And so that's why that goes back to my question. So he keeps going, and we get outraged every single time. Not saying he shouldn't, but I'm just saying, is this whole Facebook Live thing really helping the case? He keeps going live. He went live a year ago, 2 years ago. We was all outraged. The city should do more. And here we are once again, to Alanda's point, talking about the same thing. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just saying, is there an alternative way of dealing with it? Because the Facebook thing don't seem to be working. I'm not throwing any shade. I'm just giving up my observation. I could be completely wrong. That's just my take on it.
It's a reasonable question to ask, and if you're one of those people who says, hey, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar, then if you have that philosophy, then people would say, Nathan, you're right. There are probably better ways that he can handle it behind the scenes, closed door conversations, but one would assume in saying that hasn't already happened, that he hasn't exhausted a lot of other opportunities. And this is the frustration that comes. Look, give him some grace. He found out less than 24 hours from when an event was supposed to pop off that he wasn't supposed to handle it. He wasn't going to be able to have it. And the responsibility of then having to go back to all of these 40 vendors and tell them, hey, I'm sorry y'all bought all this food on the strength of what I'm doing. And now not only are you not going to be able to make any money, that potentially you could lose everything. That's a lot of responsibility and bitterness that who among us couldn't understand somebody going on in frustration and saying, this is some bull, right? Like, I get that. And I'm not going to beat him up too much for doing that, because it's understandable. And particularly if you're like, at this point, there ain't no coming back from that, because there really isn't. I mean, it's like, what are you going to do short of the city coming back and saying, nah, we were just playing. You can go ahead, go ahead and do it. I mean, like, like it's a wrap.
Yeah.
So I get it. I mean, I I typically don't handle business like that publicly. That's because that's just who I am. But I'm not going to.
Because you understand the blowback.
Huh?
Because you understand the blowback, right?
Yeah, but I'll say this: like the relationships that I have with most of the people that I do business with, fortunately for me, have not been adversarial. Right? Again, that's why his situation is unique to him, and I don't know all of the details around the conversations that he's had behind closed doors that makes him that way. So I'm not going to judge him for that because I don't know what his dealings are and what he's had to go through or how he's been talked to or dealt with, which might feed into that. So his situation is his and mine is mine, and how I deal with it. That's why I'm not going to be so quick to say, could there be a better way for him? This might have been the best way in his opinion, based on his history.
I mean, let me ask you something, because I know the listeners remember. I mean, J. Raj's name, when your name is a platform at a council meeting, or if your name come up and everybody know you from years ago, anything that he's been tied to, mostly people will say, "Oh, it's been shootings." I think he had that club down on off of Main Street. I think it was either Next Level. It was another club. I'm not sure, but his name is synonymous with drama. And so if his name even pops up, people are like, man, we're not dealing with this guy because he's just been in too much drama. So at the end of the day, Kevin, I mean, here's J. Raj, here's you. Y'all approaches are completely different in how you deal with matters. And so I just believe that his past is caught up with him. I think the way he handled it on Facebook, he said, man, I'm trying my best not to go off. He even said, man, my pastor is texting me. I thought he handled it pretty good. Okay, Annie's. Yeah, I mean, you know how much back in the day Annie's had shootings after shootings after shootings. So when the city knows your name and they know you are owner of a business that we constantly had to deal with you, I'm telling you, that's why I said in some shape or form, he should completely remove himself from being a spokesperson and be a hidden figure on the outreach of the PR that's needed.
So I do have this one just final thing I think we should think about. So for this decision to be made, I don't think anyone is intentionally trying to take money out of Black people's hands at all. I don't think anyone would sit and say, I need to make sure Black folks don't make this money. And if you're making decisions like that, I would hope that our leaders would look at it holistically and make decisions understanding how it impacts everyone, including how we're feeling right now. So I'm going to assume that someone would have sat around and had this full conversation and decided this was the best approach because of something. I could be wrong. I'm going to give that benefit of the doubt. The other thing is I'm going to make an assumption that it wasn't a one-off and it wasn't just one person who decided it was the best to do. I think someone was saying the person who kept calling. So I'm going to say that. The third thing I'll say is that when it comes to J-Raj and using the platform, I think he uses it a lot to have conversations like this. He's used it to have conversations about people he partnered with before. So we can't be surprised at that because that has been the nature of how he communicates. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it must have yielded good results at times, or you would think he wouldn't do it either. So I think trying to give people a little bit of grace about the fact they thought it through, including him, and us waiting to understand and see what happens is important. But I do challenge us to say, when we figure it out, it's time for us to do something about it, because collectively we can do almost anything we want in this city if we're together.
Do you? So I can kind of see some parallels between what we hear in terms of Black entrepreneurship here recently with Avondale and closings, and then some of the things I've heard you talk about in terms of the Black art scene. Do you see parallels?
Let me throw something in if I could.
Sure.
I don't doubt there are issues with the city bureaucracy. It's like my old campaign manager used to, he'd complete some task and he'd say, well, it's good enough for government work. And, that's probably true with a lot of the city stuff. But as some of you have said, we don't know the whole story here. I mean, even within the bureau, we don't know why they turned them down. If somebody does, let me know. But we just have one person's side of it, and so I'm not. Even though I'm all willing to believe the city bureaucracy, caused problems for this guy, we don't know the whole story. But I will say this: there is absolutely no way that he was discriminated against because he was Black. Okay, there's no way. Because I'll tell you what, I was on city council, and I don't think it's changed. Oh my gosh, the members of city council harangued the city manager constantly about putting more money into Black business, supporting business. And I don't think that's changed. So if I'm not going to buy that some racist or something in City Hall is keeping Black business people from getting their permits. It may be the bureaucracy, but it's not a racial thing. And if I may, Andre brought up 3CDC. I don't doubt that they have a lot of influence, but from what I can see, they've done a fantastic job at everything they've done. You look at Over the Rhine compared to what it used to be and how it's a great spot for restaurants and everything else. I'll tell you something, I applaud them. And I wasn't necessarily a huge supporter. It happened when they came on when I was on city council, but I give them huge credit. And, last week when we were talking about Avondale, I didn't say this, but I was thinking, if you want to revitalize Avondale or frankly anywhere else in the city, get 3CDC involved because I think they've done a great job.
Yeah,
they've been given a lot of breaks and a lot of financial support that the city doesn't necessarily dole out to other folks. So it's easy to do a great job when the city is giving you money and all kinds of.
Is the chicken or the egg?
Right.
Are they getting the money because they've been successful, or are you saying, oh, they're successful because they got a lot of money? I mean, all I can say is, look at the result. Just look at the results. Okay.
Not arguing against the results, Phil. I'm just saying
everything they've done has been really outstanding. It's revitalized Over the Rhine.
It has been unfair. What they have done in some regards has been unfair. Now, I understand you're looking at the impact. Look, I'm getting ready to tell you. You want me to? Remember, we're going to be nice today. I'm getting ready to tell you and explain to you. And I'm going to explain to you in a way that you can completely understand.
Okay.
So I decide I have a business. Wait, as a community, we strategically decide that Over the Rhine needs to happen. Put a lot of money in designing it. We include the banks. A lot of money, a lot of effort, a lot of resources, a lot of project plans, a lot. And then we have a business that we go pick, and we can't let them not be successful, but we've given them the plan. We've told them what they needed to do. We've given all the money they need.
Who's we, the city?
We is in our city government. You know who did it, Phil. Come on.
Who did what? What are you talking about? Did what?
Tell me. You know what? Let me know. Stop me when I lie.
I'm just trying to understand you when you say we. I don't know who you're talking about.
You knew who we was, but now everyone does.
I did not know. I was clarifying. Okay. I did not know.
Okay. Well, I can name like part of who was mayor at the time that we started this years and years and years and years and years ago. So 3CDC was chosen. 3CDC gets to decide who gets some of the work. And that's where unfairness comes in. Who they pick.
So you say they're discriminating against race based on race, and who gets the work?
Are you going to let me finish and then ask the question?
You go on for 20 minutes, Alana. Say it. And
I know. I want to finish
I want to finish. You need 20 minutes. No offense.
Okay.
I mean, you just say it, and let's go back and forth on it.
You know what, Phil?
You want to wait 20 minutes?
Let me be clear. When you get ready to talk, I sit and I listen to you. And I don't interrupt you because I don't think interrupting you would be disrespectful.
I also don't talk.
I say you're still doing it.
But go ahead.
I say you're still doing it. Cut it out. Cut it out. You were taught not to interrupt people. I know you were.
I was taught by
We were
who?
taught that in the 2nd grade. Now cut it out and give me
Okay,
some
just
respect.
go on,
Let me
Landis. Go
finish
on
my
as long as you want. I
You
would
know
say
what?
anything else.
You just
Go
don't
ahead.
like what I'm saying.
No,
So
I just
let
don't
me
like the
get back
length
to
of it. I don't like the length of it, but I'll be quiet now. You talk as much as you want. Go ahead.
I don't have anything to say.
Okay. Well, that's up to you.
Landis, don't let him stop what you got to say.
Well, I'm
Let's
not letting
Phil
him
be
do
in
anything.
Phil.
I'm reminding myself that this weekend I'm gonna have a really good time, and Baldhead Phil isn't gonna interrupt me
boy.
and make me not have one.
Oh
Did I
boy.
say that?
That term? What,
Did I
Phil?
say
I
that
didn't hear
fast
that.
enough,
What?
Phil?
What term?
Did I say that fast enough?
Yeah, that was great. That's exactly the model role. The model. I'm totally in favor of that. Yeah.
So I'll say this. He knows where I was going. 3CDC is unfair in how they select people to be a part of the money.
How are they
league.
unfair?
And the next thing I'll say, he's doing it again. The next thing I'll
Just
say,
give us an example.
the
Instead of
next
making
thing I will say,
accusations.
the next thing I will say about that piece, which I think is really, really important, is I don't know if it's just about color or you're not their friend, or I'm kind of aligned with this group and it's hard to get in this group to get it. But the other thing is all these businesses that are opening up, we should be demanding 25% of them actually become owners after maybe 5 years of sustainability. But people are just leasing from them, right? There's no ownership model. They're just leasing in mostly everything they're doing. And I know to build wealth, people need to own their stuff. And I don't see that much either. I just see a lot of leasing. So, and we've seen other things that happen in 3CDC.
Yeah, Phil. You got anything to say for yourself, Phil?
I have no idea what leasing from who. I have no idea what. With all due
From
respect,
3CDC. She's
so
talking about the
you're saying 3CDC shouldn't be leasing space. They should be giving it or selling it. Is that what you're saying? I don't even understand what. Is that what you're saying, Lance?
What I said is that their model actually leases. It's a lot of leasing. And even if I lease something for 5 years and show I can sustain it and keep it, they don't offer it up to be sold. They're keeping it. And everyone understands to actually build wealth, we need to own stuff. So I think we need to be demanding how we start building that, because once I can show I can keep a business open and growing for a certain amount of time, that's called sustainability. Do I need to explain that? Or you get that, right? That's called sustainability in ownership, and we don't see that. And if you need me to give an example, I can of what they've done, but I think we can go through and look at the people they partner with as contractors, and it'll tell the story.
Well, hold it. Okay. So now we're not talking about leases. We're talking about who they hire. So what is the problem with who they hire? Are they racially discriminating? What's the problem with the contractors, how they hire them? What is it specifically?
So right now is they hire most times the same people, and sometimes the RFP process isn't as fair as it should be, and they use the same people.
Maybe the same people do a good job. That's why they do it, like any business. I have a few. Occasionally, I have a guy. I need my fridge fixed.
Okay, let me give you an
I
example.
have a guy who does a good
Here's
job.
an
I use him
example.
every time.
Here's an example. Let me give you a real life example.
All right.
The Cincinnati Convention Center. I think you asked me about art. So why don't I tie it into art?
Yes.
The Cincinnati Convention Center. It came up. I text someone and said, hey, don't forget about us when art comes up. About a year and a half before it came.
Who? Somebody in the city?
I text someone that was one of the builders that said, when you get to art, don't forget about Black Art Speaks. You got me? Don't forget about Black Art Speaks. That's what I asked them to do. A year and a half later, it's starting to come up. I'm hearing 2 other groups are involved. I have to make a couple phone calls. They didn't know what happened. They finally got me to the table. They had already gotten 2 people to the table and hadn't thought about us. Got me to the table. And the first question I was asked from 3CDC is, would I work for one of them? And I said, no, but one of them can work for me. And the reason why is I was 5 years into this, and I had showed I had the ability to do it. We had done Ziegler Park. We had done other things, but they had only given a small job.
So you were the one who was discriminated with.
Let me finish.
I got to jump off.
So finally, we finally got part of the work. We got part of the work. We should have had more of the work, but we got part of the work.
So it's your personal business that you're upset at 3CDC about.
Hold on, without us pushing, we wouldn't have gotten that. In the meantime, there was other work coming up, and we didn't hear about it. And the other people got it again. It happened.
So you're upset
all
that
the
you
time.
didn't get the work. That's your example, right? You're upset that your business didn't get the work or as much as you wanted.
Listen here. I said that I had to push. I had to push to get us at the table. And we do great work. They had already selected the people without even looking at us.
So it's a personal thing, business thing.
All the time. It is who they, and you might say it's because they do a good job. Well, Phil, it's more than your cousin who does a good job. Sometimes you have to look beyond the family. We're just not in the family so much. So to push in the family, we do a great job. We show up and try to do more and more and more than the person next to us. And you have to go and get people who will actually advocate for you. If I do good business, why I need somebody to advocate for you? Well, you do. You go and get lobbyists. They do all of that. So miss me with what you're talking about.
Well, I appreciate it. I got to go, guys, but I'll just say that, I understand you're not happy, Landis, with how 3CDC dealt with you, and maybe you've got.
I gave you an example. It's not how they deal with me. It's how they deal. It's not just me. You asked for an example, and I decided to use one that I was attached to, so I didn't tell other people's business. But it is not one thing. It is a lot of things.
Okay. Hey, guys, I got to go. Have a great weekend.
All right, Phil, take it easy, man. Thanks for your time. We can't hear you, Kevin.
Phil's problem is he can't see past the point that he wants to make to see the larger picture. And this is what I would have said if he didn't have to get off. What he fails to acknowledge, and this is the thing that I think I shouldn't say all, but white folks who struggle with this have a problem with. Look, most of the opportunities that people get, and Alandis brought this up earlier, is it may not necessarily be 100% racial bias, but it's like you connect with people who are in your circle, who you know, maybe sometimes who you're friendly with or whatever. Just like Trump hooked up his boy to do the reflecting pool, right? Somebody who had done work for him, no big contract, all of that type thing. And the fact that many white people don't have proximity to diversity, they tend to lean towards what they see, which are other white businesses and things that they know or that they're comfortable with. And there tends to be an automatic assumption that that's better than somebody like an Alandis. So Alandis is saying, hey, I got all of the chops. I got all of the requisite qualifications and experience that these folks over here have, but you want the black business to come work under the white business when we're never considered to be the lead agent. Right. And so Phil will say, well, they're picking somebody, the best person for the job. But white folks always say that, right? When you're white, you're always the most qualified. You're always the best person for the job because they don't see themselves as outside of that. But when somebody black comes in, it's either we got to make special dispensations for you, or you got to come in and work at somebody else. You're never qualified enough to get the deal outright when they're making the decisions, by and large. And I think that is what now people will reject that and they'll push back on it. But I always say this, and I've said this in every newsroom that I've been in, and I ask my white colleagues this question. When you look around and you only see one or two of us in there, do you just think that me and whomever else here are just the most qualified black people on the planet and there's nobody else out there who's the equivalent to us? Or it's just that all of these white folks in here are that much better, right? No, that the answer to that question is no. The reason that you see the dichotomy that you do is because white folks choose who are in their proximity. And who is in their proximity most often are other white people, which they're going to automatically assume are good enough for the job.
And sometimes it's just unintended bias. Like I'm not gonna say
Right.
what a person's heart is, but facts are facts. And
Yeah.
when it looks like that, then you're supposed to say, now why and what can we do to change it? Phil's not getting ready to change anything. Only thing Phil did was what? Not vote for Trump. That's the only thing he tried to do for us. Other than that, Phil is who Phil is.
Yeah, because
What?
Phil subscribes to that. I mean,
Mhm.
you heard him say it, 3CDC. They do a good job,
Yeah.
right? Well, as if there might not be other entities that are not 3CDC, that are non-white, that could do that, given the same opportunities, given the same support, funding, and planning, maybe they would be just as good. But you rarely get a chance to find that out because you don't get the opportunity.
And think about if someone had done that fully, but let's say just the grocery store. That just look. Think about all that 3CDC was given to become this business, right? Just think about that.
Yeah.
I think you made a good point though, and it takes us to think about things a little differently. Because like what you were suggesting is like, what if their model in the OTR was like you said, like after a certain amount of time, you actually get equity in terms of ownership, and how that could build these small businesses up even bigger and bigger. A lot of these businesses are failing because the rent is just through the roof. They just can't afford it, as we all know. So,
Well,
but tell me about the arts ecosystem. Tell me how does that work? How do
It's a
what are there any parallels between what we're talking about with J. Raj and Black entrepreneurs and your experiences in the
well,
arts ecosystem?
yes, so the art is two pieces. It's the public art, and then it's like private, and then I'll say government. First of all, it's very hard to regulate art. Art is about what you like, you know, what you really dig. But when it comes to big things, it is normally done by the city or the state or, grants, things like that. When you look at what happens in kind of the private sector, you think about places like ArtsWave. They have a campaign that's normally they get between, I think last year was a low year for them, which was 9 million. Normally it was about 14. I think their high was $18 million they bring in. And the Black people get about anywhere from 1.2 to 2.3% of that, because it was built on keeping 11 uh, organizations solid. That's what it was built on over almost 100 years ago. And so that happens. So trying to unwind that is things we've been talking through, like what does that look like, to start unwinding some of that to do something different. Then the other thing is that there's not a true city program for the arts. It used to be. They've been talking about like how do we get something back. So with that not existing, then you have that piece that's kind of huge. Um, and then I think other things is just the grant process. And the grant process makes everyone need to battle. And so when you're trying to find a unified front, it's kind of hard when most of what you have to do is compete against each other just to get the little job or the medium job. So that's how it all goes. I do think though that there's little things we have to do. I do think that if you want to tell the Black story, you need to look Black or have gone through the Black story to tell it through the arts. I think that's really important. So I think that doesn't always show up the way it should, but I think we've been having the conversations to say, let's change it and pushing it. We have things that's getting better. We have things that's still the same, but it doesn't happen without a push. So I think that's what I'm saying, even with us. Like, what are we pushing to make happen together?
Hey, Nathan, I just sent you so I just got a text from one of the city council people who said to me that the city manager said food trucks can still come, and sent a list of, I sent you, I don't know if you can take that document I just sent you and put it on screen or share, but
Yeah, I
they're
can.
basically,
Take a minute or two. I can. It'll take me a couple of minutes.
okay. But at any rate, there's some rules and regulations that the food trucks can follow to still get that on. So, whenever you get that together in a couple minutes, flash it up in case anybody is watching us. It might just be good information to share, particularly if any food truck vendors are trying to figure out what they should do. It looks like there might still be some kind of workaround that they can do if they meet certain guidelines. They can still go down. So hopefully that'll be helpful. That'll be helpful to some people.
Well, won't you just read off what they text you and tell
Well, that's basically all the text said. It said city manager said food trucks can still come. Here are the rules. And then they sent me that PDF document that I sent to Nathan, and that was the extent. Like there was still no addressing the issue or any other statement. It was just, hey, food trucks can still come.
Yeah, that
And that kind of takes
know, Kevin,
it.
that just sounds ridiculous to me. Just because they should I mean they texting you, why don't they make it public? Why don't they
well, they text me back because when I was on Lincoln earlier, I was hitting up all of the city council people that I need because I was trying to get somebody to come on and talk about it.
Right.
And just now getting back. So it wasn't. This was the text was in response to my earlier outreach saying, "Hey, will you come on and talk about this?"
Yeah, hours later. I mean, it's just
I do think they were
food trucks in a position to say if they follow these guidelines. We don't even know right now. Is the food still preserved? I mean, what are they doing in the process? I mean, it's a lot of things. Do you have a space that's going to be close to the event to where already other people aren't in the position? I mean, this is just ridiculous.
So I think we're assuming again that it was bad news because remember earlier I said they were looking at how to figure out how to make the vendors who was losing a lot of money whole, right? And so if you actually allow the trucks to still set up shop and do what they planned on doing, hopefully that's going to make them somewhat whole. And I think what it says is when you look at this holistically at the entire view, someone said we need to take care of them and then figure out what we need to do on the other side. When you talk about J-Raj and everything, how does that handle? But I mean, what do you need to do there? But maybe not impact this entire group. So I think they're trying to rebound or recover. That's what I'm reading from this. And I don't know what the issue, like what they said yes or no to, but it does sound like they're rebounding. And maybe it was a mistake when I don't know. We're still I still think it's a lot to find out, but it's good to know that they have an option. Don't you guys think? If I just drove my truck up here from Georgia and who knows if they've been down there talking to them, but
I think
I don't like the option. I don't like the crumbs because they shouldn't be in this position in the first place. And now, once again, the city is just, jumping out of an airplane without parachute saying, okay, well, let's give them a bone and this should make them happy. And I don't agree with that. Don't just give me a bone. If I'm a business man or woman and this is my livelihood, and now you're saying, well, you can't really make me whole. They might try to break even. Well, however the process went, at the end of the day, the city messed up, and now it is getting some pushback. It was clearly on, the Lincoln Ware show with Nathan, and people are talking now. And now the city council is getting some heat for for an event that brings in over $107 million. $107 million that come from people all over the states to bring into this city. And black businesses, food trucks are now in a position where they got to scramble for scraps. That's unacceptable. And somebody from council, the city manager, mayor need to come out and make some public statements on this foolishness and make them whole. Not half, but completely whole, meaning that they're going to make a lot of money in the process. That's what these events are for in the first place. So the city right now, they can kick rocks and trying to get the situation together. I mean, Nathan, you shouldn't have never had to text nobody. They should have already been feeding you information early this morning in the process. So that's just terrible business. And it's unfortunate for these businesses right now that have to go through this process.
So is any of the businesses calling in to tell us what they're going through? Like, are they working with these 40 businesses and maybe that's who they're communicating with? And I don't know the answer to that. I'm asking.
Yeah, so there was one food truck lady. I can't remember the name of her business, and I feel bad about that. But she does desserts like sweets and stuff like that. And she was going to be a part of the J Raj event. And she basically said that what she did was she basically found a spot. I can't remember where she said, but it was somewhere downtown, First Financial Building, close to that, maybe something like that. That she was just going to pull up and she was going to pay the parking meter rates and just post up out there, and that's where she was going to try to salvage her business and do her thing. But she talked about, yeah, this is devastating, to not be able to. She talked about, she threw some numbers out there. She was like, just from a couple years ago, she was like, you might spend $3,000, on your merchandise, whatever that is that you're producing, with the hope of making $9,000-$10,000 over this weekend. So you clear maybe $6,000-$7,000 profit, in a weekend from a food truck, which I don't know anything about food truck economy, but 10 G's out of a weekend sounds pretty good to me. And so think about you're losing that. She mentioned that she had to take out a small business loan, to even purchase her items, the materials, just to have the money. So if you think about that, if you think about you taking out a loan, any interest in anything, like you thinking if you take out a loan, hey, I can get that turned around quickly and pay that all back without having to pay interest. Well, if you don't have anything go off, you aren't able to make any money. Now you got to pay back a loan with interest and all of that other kind of stuff. So it would.
Is that the city's responsibility? Are you suggesting the city?
No. I'm not suggesting it's necessarily the city's responsibility. I'm just trying to outline like what's at stake for the vendors by the event, by the event not going off. So when Brother Dre talks about the city making food truck owners whole, like that's kind of what you're talking about. Like if you're talking about whole, like, oh, should they just get back, what they spent, or should they get back what they spent and any lost revenues? Like, what does that mean, making the vendors whole?
Because they could be in another location this weekend, I'm sure.
Right.
I mean, because if you're not in the heart of where people and the traffic is going, I mean, that's why I say with these permits and they're already set up, you are already located. I mean, to unload your truck, get it heated, get everything in position. And now you're talking about 100,000 people plus the terrible parking that's downtown. And now they're saying, oh, well, go drive over at this location. And you hope people walk by and get hungry. I mean, it just, once again, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And just like, and Kevin, I mean, whole as in you put your money out, you got your money back, and you made a whole bunch of money. That's so not just I'm not here to break even. I'm here to break even. I want everything and some as a business owner.
And I was wondering if we had heard from business owners that's actually in communication with the city right now, and how they're feeling, even about the fact that they're saying that they can stay here. Like, I didn't know if we have anyone we could ask that question, because they're working with someone, and the people they're working with are probably those 40 groups that was impacted. So I just wondered if we had.
Yeah, I kind of wonder where the food truck association people are, because like that's the representative of the food truck vendors. So I mean, I realize this is J. Rogers' event, but I would think that organization with so many of your members being involved, that maybe they might know some things or might be having some conversations behind the scenes. I mean, as I said, they've been under. I really feel I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't own a food truck or anything like that. But it seems to me that that these food trucks have really been under a lot of regulations by the city over the last 5 or so years. And I don't get it. I mean, shutting food trucks down at 11 o'clock at the music festival, it's like, yeah, you gonna make some money during the day or whatever, and folks who are not in the concert, But the main thing is, and I know from having been, when you come out of that concert, which a lot of times is around midnight or maybe a little bit after that, you hungry. You know, you might be looking for something to eat as you walking back to your car, or just hanging out downtown for a little bit afterwards, trying to wait for the traffic to clear out before you get on the highway. Like that after 11 is like prime time, where you can make, where you can make a lot of money. And forcing food trucks to close down at 11, that's just, that's leaving a lot of money on the table.
Yeah, I think we
Or
all
were
agree.
they pushing the money to the vendors that are staying open that's right outside of the facility? So you think sometimes people do things because, and I don't know the answer to this, but when you come out, there is all these, I don't know if they call themselves trucks, but there are all these places and they're open, right? They're open for another hour or so when you leave. It's if you go past them and try to go up to Fountain Square that they're gone, that they've shut down. So I just wonder, like, if that's part of it, where you're saying, hey, as we did the food truck piece, did it start impacting those other groups that were coming down that used to make all the money? And was that a play there?
Yeah, and I think the issue with that is how many of those vendors are actually local.
They're not. I was
Yeah.
going to say, and that's not too much local money. But a lot of the vendors that was up on the square too weren't local. It's a lot of them that most of the local people know where to go.
Yeah.
They know where to pull up and what to do. A lot of those people are not from here. So you just wonder about the 11 p.m. thing and if it was more to that than meets the eye.
Well, and this isn't just for the music festival. This is a standard policy. Now, music festival, no music festival, like weekends, you got to shut it down by 11. And I said this earlier today, and I don't want to make this sound like I'm picking on the mayor, because I'm not.
Oh boy, here we go.
But when you stand up at Black Tech Week last week and you say Cincinnati is a black city, you say that, your words, not mine. Then you turn around and you have something like this happen. And again, I'm not saying that this was necessarily racially motivated or anything like that. But my point is that you have what people are trying to make into a signature black event associated with one of your largest events, no matter what color it is. But it just so happens to be built around black culture, $100 million event. That if you are a black city, you find ways for positive black events to happen, not for them not to happen.
You mean like Black Tech Week?
Where most people stopped it? Or how about this? How about we have the longest lasting black family reunion?
Right.
Yeah.
How about this festival? It'll be 60 years next year that it's been going on. And that's one of the longest festivals ever. How about we're the only city that still has a Black Lives Matter mural that we're going to repaint in a couple? So I think that he says it with the thinking of and I don't know why he said it. I know that he's getting a lot of flack from saying it. I know that there's some stuff they need to do better. There's some stuff we need to do better, right? I think there's a lot of work still to be done, but sometimes when you start comparing it to your neighboring places, you feel good, like you can beat your chest. And because we live it, we feel like you don't need to beat your chest because we have some more improvements to do. Do you get what I'm saying? But when you
I feel you on this, and TNT is probably, I see she's in the chat. She's probably smiling because she made that same point. And I'll say the same thing that I said to her last show. Everything that you said is spot on and is right and good, right? But what I don't like to do when we do those sorts of things is that it becomes a sort of like, well, yeah, they didn't get it right here, but look at all of the. No, that doesn't, because we've got all of these other great things, that doesn't absolve the city from criticism when they don't get it right where they should. Right. So I always,
but that's not the point you were making.
I always hate to fall back on that. I always hate to fall back on that. Oh, well, we got it better than other cities, or we look at we got the Underground Railroad Freedom Center, we got the Black Wall of Fame. All of that is good, and I'm not saying that it
All
isn't.
of that are examples.
But that has nothing to do.
Don't have a point, Kevin.
That has nothing to do with the issue at hand.
It has
does.
everything to do with the issue at hand.
It has nothing to do with the issue at hand.
You're trying to make this point. You're trying to use the mayor's words against him.
I'm about to say, Phil. Hey, Kevin. The mayor gets up, says this is a black city. What is he measuring it with? I mean, what is his measure to say it's a black city? Is he comparing it to Chicago? Is he comparing it to Atlanta? Is he comparing it to Houston? Is he comparing it to Detroit? How is his measure to say, oh, this is a black city? I mean, everybody see my hat is red. And I'm going to tell you something. I went through a demonstration with a class, and I told people, I said, look, man, my hat is blue, and it was red. I said, look, my hat is blue. When I tell you it's blue, it's blue. And everybody in the room, I said, what color is it? They was like, blue, it's blue, it's blue. I said, man, the hat is red. And they said, oh, well, we thought you was supposed to, we do what you said. Man, the mayor sitting there saying it's a black city, it's a black weekend. He was nowhere to be found. And I'm going to just sell you this swamp land. I can't believe people keep buying into this foolishness, man.
Dre,
this
what
is
are you
ridiculous.
talking about?
It's actually an insult.
Dre, what
How
are
do you
talking
measure that this is a black city? And he stands up and says it. Man, people should be angry at him right now. And I know Jay Rod wanted to call the mayor out.
Call the mayor out about what, Dre? Call the mayor out about what?
It's a black city. Based on what?
So you're going to make a big deal about that. And Atlantis just ran down all these great things happening. So and you and Kevin want to focus on the negative and try to use his words against him, as if the city has never invested in and we have no black cultural heritage whatsoever. That's just not true. We got to stop that. I didn't say that. We got to stop with the fake outrage. We got to stop.
It's not fake outrage. Nathan, do you think $31,000 median black $31,000 median black income? You think that's fake outrage?
It is a bad faith argument to try to use what the mayor said at Black Tech Week to try to make some kind of point about J-Rod. They have nothing to do with one another at all. It's bad faith.
It's part of the same. It's part of the same dynamic. And this is what I said. Black people, we love to get all in our feelings and feeling good because they throw us a little festival out here and do a museum and paint a mural on the street. And we supposed to take those crumbs and feel satisfied about that when the median black household income in Cincinnati is $31,000 compared to $71,000 for white folks. That black home ownership in this city is abysmal, right? It's abysmal.
It is.
That black people are incarcerated in this city at higher levels than white people, that they are criminalized at higher levels than white people in this city. But no, you want me to be Mayor Avtab and the city council because we got a little music festival or whatever it is that you want to say. Cause if you want to buy that, what they selling, then go ahead. I think we buy it too often. And if you're going to call this a black city, I'm with Dre. What are you measuring that up against? If you want me to consider Cincinnati a black city because we got the Cincinnati Music Festival and the Underground Railroad, if that's all it takes for you to be satisfied that this is a black city in Cincinnati, then you're a cheaper buy than I am.
Okay, so let me say this. I do not know why he said it, but I need you to listen, Kevin, because even though I say the good things, I fight for what we need. It with tooth and nail. So when I say stuff, when I even said the thing about the Black Lives Matter mural, I wasn't into art. I was in the money. I was in the finance all of my career. And I saw a gap where people wasn't getting us money. And in 5 years, last year, I made $1 million for black artists. $1 million to make sure, because we pushed and pushed. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm saying, just complaining about it doesn't fix it. It actually makes us as people give ourselves more excuses not to push. So what I am saying is, let's be fair and equal about you. You asked the question, why would he said it? I don't know why, but I gave you some examples. And then I'll say 42% of Cincinnati are Black. So maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know why he said it, right? Things are not perfect. But if we don't start pushing the things that are, that helps it get bigger. So when you start saying, you did good over here, let's keep pushing this, then you help it get larger. But when you just keep complaining, it paralyzes us. It's what it does to us. It makes us stop doing what we need to do to press on. And what we have to do is find the right words to say, you're doing this really good, Karen. Keep doing that because it's helping. And then still go over here and talk to Joe about what he needs to do. We can do both. Please quit acting like we can only do one or the other. So I'm not going to just complain. I just was showing you the holistic picture. Right?
And I understand.
So
and
we can celebrate some things and not celebrate some. We're going to celebrate Tracy Artist and Black Family Reunion, and it's still going. And so many places it stopped because it brings us money, right? We're going to celebrate that. We're going to celebrate the music festival. And one day our kids might end up owning that as opposed to the group that makes most of the money. But in the meantime, we figured out a way for us to make money.
Yeah.
55 years ago, we weren't doing all this. So we're progressing, right? We're doing that. At the same time, our community is dying inside. Our kids don't see the value of themselves. We do not see people. I think J. Raj got on there and said, who's leading us? I would say, as grown people, why would we need to be led?
Thank you.
Go do what you do. I don't know. I didn't know anything about art. I saw a hole and tried to fill it. Let's go fill it.
Thank you.
Just
exactly.
That's all I'm saying. Let's go fill it.
Yeah.
The Messiah complex is a real problem with our community on all levels. People sitting around waiting for somebody to come out and lead you. Sitting around waiting for some charismatic leader to show up. In most people's imagination, probably a man, where they probably going to get it wrong off the top. And this person is going to be so charismatic and he's just going to lead you. That's part of the problem. Like Alanda said, go out and do it. Go get it. Go make it happen, Captain. Go make it happen.
I think, but it falls into that same line of what Alandis was saying earlier. Look, because there are a lot of people who are trying to go out there and make it happen. But it goes back. This is government. Okay. This is why I'm critical of the mayor stepping out there and saying this Black City stuff, because we just got done talking about it. Yeah, there are people who are going out there making it happen and trying to make money, but they're not getting the same level of support like a 3C, DC or some other. We just got done talking about this. So this is what I'm saying, that if you're going to come out and you're going to make statements like that, your actions got to match your words. And I'm sorry. For me, I feel like politicians too much try to pass off masquerade inaction as action. And they want to pacify us with some of these ceremonial things. And again, I'm not diminished. I'm just using this as an example because these are the types of things that we get excited about, right? And I know this was real money in people's pockets, that Black Lives Matter mural. So I'm not diminishing that and what that meant at the time and the people who were able to prosper off of that. But that's a small group of individuals who, out of that whole George Floyd situation, this is the best the city of Cincinnati can muster is we get a few artists get to make some money off of a mural, and we going down there and taking pictures and dancing and doing all of that like that does anything.
Didn't I just tell you that last year we made $1 million? We went from 17 artists to 170 artists that we actually helped feed. Let me finish. That we actually help feed. We are sitting at tables to try to make big moves that I'm hoping we make, right? We're taking action and pushing steps. It is not perfect. But this is what happens. I'm going to talk about, the city manager. The city manager has a big ass job. She's a Black woman with a big job. She's gone through her own troubles in her life, And everything she does, people just scream about it. And what I'm going to say is she probably makes 100 mistakes. They're not intentional. It's a big job, and she got to figure out a whole lot of stuff. And the only thing we do is talk about anytime any one thing happens that she's nothing.
Yeah, Kevin.
And what I'm gonna tell you,
Come
she's
on,
a
man.
black
I'm
woman
not about to
with
let y'all
black
do that.
kids that she wants to make a better place, and
Yeah,
she's not
Kevin.
going to be perfect. But the only thing we can figure out how to do is figure out how to push her to the other side. So I would say this, going back to our earlier conversation, what if that other guy would have won? What if the other guy would have won? What would we be talking about?
Yeah,
right now?
Dre. Dre.
Here's the problem that
What would
I
have been
have.
it?
Here's the problem I have is because somebody's black, all of a sudden they can't do wrong. I mean, you're gonna bring up the
I
city
didn't
manager.
say
You're
that.
gonna bring up the city manager around
I didn't
me.
say she couldn't do anything wrong. So wait,
what I'm saying, I'm
want
gonna
you
let you speak, my
but I
sister,
know,
because you
and I
said
am
the
gonna
field and he
interrupt you,
interrupted
and
you.
I'm
I
so
was given a
wrong.
chance to talk.
No, I'm so wrong, but I just want you to make sure you're on honest point, because what I said was she's not perfect. She doesn't do things all the time right. I said that. So I did. So don't say that I called anybody perfect. I'm imperfect. I didn't say just because she's black, she this. We come after her as black people like she's doing things against us. And what I'm telling you is that's not the case. So
Okay.
go ahead and you can rebuttal it. I just want to make sure you heard me fully in the intent of what I was saying.
Okay. And I've been very vocal about the city manager that she is trash on how she manages the city. I mean, she selected Chief Thigi, who she fired, $1 million lawsuit. We dealing with Chief Michael Washington, $1 million lawsuit that she fired. Black Captain Danita Pettis, she signed off on that. Black female who got her job back. She has made so many terrible decisions. Assistant fire chief fired, who's suing. You got all these lawsuits that were dealing from that situation. So I really don't want to get too far on the city manager. I'm just saying whether you're black or you're white, we need to hold people accountable. The bottom line is accountability.
Can I say
I want you to hold people accountable. One of the biggest conversations is about the police. Okay, we holding the police accountable.
Can I say something, Dre?
So if we're going to go ahead and do this on a regular basis, I'm just saying let's have a higher standard to hold people accountable in every category. So if AFTAB, hold on, my brother. So if AFTAB is going to sit back and say this is a black city, then he has to measure it and prove it, because even if you Google it, Cincinnati is nowhere listed among top black cities.
Well, maybe he was speaking aspirationally.
To have him say that during one of the biggest events for black culture is actually it's hypocrisy, man. It's a stab in the back, and it's like telling you something in your face that's not true. So
y'all is running with this.
Hey, somebody said, hey, Dre, somebody had a good comment. Somebody had a good comment in the comment section. Is would AFTAB have said that in front of a white audience?
Said what?
That Cincinnati is a black city.
Right. Does it matter? Is not the smartest thing.
It does matter. It does matter because
it doesn't matter.
It's the difference between pandering to and insulting your audience and being authentic. And I think everybody who knows one of the big criticisms of the mayor is he cares more about optics.
He's a Democrat.
He's very much the dude that cares about image and how things look, and people question his authenticity. That is it or not, that is a wrap on AFTAB.
Yep.
And so when you stand up in front of a crowd of black people and say this is a black city, to Dre's point, without defining what that is pandering.
It means absolutely
It's insulting the audience.
It's not insulting unless you. Okay. I mean, come on, man. We can't melt in the sun because somebody says something.
I'm not saying you melt in the sun, but I'm also
you cannot
saying
melt in the sun because he said something. You're trying to make this into something far insidious. He was pandering. Please. He just simply said something during Black Tech Week. Maybe he was aspirational. The real issue, and you brought up a lot of good points, but the real issue is dealing with all of those issues you brought up, irrespective of what AFTAB said. before AFTEP said something about it being a black city, there was still a lot of hypocrisy in terms of what the city really delivered for black people. That has nothing to do with his statement. Those are issues we're going to have to deal with long after he becomes the mayor. And then Dre, I just, bro, I don't know what it is about you and Cheryl Long. Leave her alone. She is doing an excellent job. You didn't mention not one thing.
Come on.
You didn't mention not one thing.
Come on.
That city managers in big cities deal with every single year. You hire people, either they live up to the expectations or you don't. A weak leader would let them stay. A good leader gets them out. And you get somebody else in. So you can't simultaneously say that she has to be accountable when she's showing you accountability by letting these people go. And I'll still say this. I think there's a lot of information about all of these situations that is just not privy to the public. I think that there's a lot more into it that we just don't know, and we'll never know. But let the woman do her job. If she was a white male, y'all wouldn't be doing all this.
That's not true. Because here's the thing. This is one of the things that I said. In years past, people didn't even know who the city manager was.
You're making her
famous. The city manager managed. They stayed behind closed doors and they tried to keep things very quiet. Well, what you actually heard about was either a chief of police or you may hear about the mayor. We never heard about the city manager. Now you got the city manager constantly in the limelight. And I said that's one of the biggest mistakes that could happen.
That's not true, Jay.
The city manager needs to stop putting her face out there in the front.
That's the opposite of what her bosses told her, Dre. Did you know that? In her assessment, in which they said she did a great job, and part of her assessment, they said she needs to be even more out there. And it's just not consistent with what I remember in Cincinnati in terms of what you're saying about we never heard about the city manager. We always hear about the city manager. We've always heard that person's name. It's always come up because they play such a critical role. And now because of the changes in terms of how we hire and fire police chiefs, you're always going to hear the name of the city manager. That's the way the role is designed. She's not doing nothing. The only thing that sister's doing differently is she's doing it in brown female skin. That's it. She ain't doing nothing different.
So here's what I would agree with what Brother Dre said. And look, the city manager job, just like the superintendent of schools or any of these jobs, are meat grinders, right? That's why most people who are in those jobs aren't in them long. I think the life of most people in those positions, if you make it to 5 years, might be good. If you're beyond 5 years, then you must be doing a heck of a job, or have a council or school board that ain't paying much attention. But they're tough jobs for a reason. Because it's difficult to run cities. It's difficult to run school districts. But if you take the job, you don't get no sympathy for that. You knew the job was dangerous when you took it.
We know that, Kevin.
No, but this is what you guys do. This is what you guys do, though.
What do we do,
Because
Kevin?
it's hard. Because you don't know what the city manager does, and they have to make decisions. And that's part of the job, player.
And firing people.
We said she's gonna make. You know what? Bias goes all kinds of ways.
And that's not any judgment on Cheryl Long. I've not said anything negative about the city manager, except for the fact that I didn't know necessarily that I agreed that she had a glowing evaluation, which to me says that you're above and beyond. I think she's done a competent job, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's an exceptional job. That's my opinion, right? Looking at the body of work, when you say something exceptional, to me, that's game changing. That's it. When you get above and beyond, you're changing the game. Nobody has yet to give me any accomplishment that she's done that's been a game changer for the city.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have. Because
give me one, Nathan. What game changing thing is the city?
I can't recall offhand.
Okay, there you go. Then it ain't game changing, brother.
Right.
You can recall it.
Because I don't have because I don't have total recall.
No, if she does something game changing,
because I can't recall.
It would be
you're
evident.
Right, Kevin. I'm just giving you your. So because I can't recall some fact you asked me randomly, that means you have a point. Of course not. So here's what we know.
Of course it does.
Of course not. Here's what we know.
It does. Because if she had done something that's significant, you wouldn't have forgotten it.
It was a big story. It was a big story. They put it in the newspaper. It was in the Inquirer. They had a whole list of all the things. They even put some of the assessments of city council and what they said about her. It's all in the newspaper. So if people are concerned about it, go check it out and read it. But all that information out here is out there, and people who have been elected to supervise her position said she did a great job. That's it. Why can't we just say she did a great job? Is it because she a black female?
See, there you go, Nathan. See,
I'm just being honest. Like, I don't understand what the problem is.
That's ridiculous. You trying to stir everybody up with that, man. Cut it out. Because at the end of the day, she's firing black people too. So at the end of the day, like I said, she's firing some serious black people. So at the end of the day, if she was if she was a manager of a bank and losing millions, they would fire her.
She's not losing millions. The city has insurance for those kind of things, Dre.
Cincinnati. It's a terrible process what she's been doing. At the end of the day, white, black, or indifferent, she needs to get called out. And I'm not biting my tongue about it. I've always said it. I said
I'm not suggesting that you don't criticize it.
Before even they talked about Fiji, I said Fiji needed to go. And guess what? Fiji was gone, but she need to fire herself.
So what you're saying then, so what you just inadvertently admitted is that Cheryl Long is doing the right thing, because you said she should get rid of Fiji and she got rid of Fiji.
She need to fire herself for even hiring Fiji.
What? That makes no sense.
Yes, it does.
On, man. Yeah, I don't know what this big thing that you and Kevin have against the city manager. I don't get it.
I don't get it. I just said I don't have anything against the city man. If saying that the city manager is doing a competent job, not an exceptional job, is a criticism, then I guess I'll take that. I don't think she's done an exceptional job. I would say that regardless of whether she was black, white, or whatever, if she had the same measure of accomplishment, a competent job is not a bad thing. That's not saying that she needs to be fired. That's not saying that but to me, if you're going to give somebody an exceptional evaluation, then there should be some exceptional outcomes in that.
Yeah.
I don't get an exceptional job review if I ain't done nothing. If I just come in and do my job every day and do it competently, guess what my reward is for that? My paycheck. It ain't a bonus. It ain't a promotion.
We are always
you're doing a competent job doing your job.
I don't know why you want to call this woman competent.
That's when you get those labels. I don't think that that's the case. Doesn't mean she deserves to be fired. Doesn't mean she's a bad city.
I think there's a lot more happening in this city that people might call potential crises that she is dealing with and her team is dealing with that we'll never hear about. I just feel like people are being unfair, but hey, we can all have our opinion.
And remember when we said that they're not good at shouting out the great things they do, nor are they good about talking about some of the things that aren't great. It goes both ways. And so there's things that the city manager and her team have done that has been the greatest thing in response to where we are. But you have to remember, if somebody is peeing in the corner and it stinks and they keep peeing in that same corner, it rolls up to the city manager. If someone is taking a life in that same corner, it rolls up to the city manager. The job is huge, and I'm not saying that she shouldn't be able to do the whole thing, but everything you're talking about is just like whatever you can come up with bad. My question is do we look at it in its totality, or are we biased?
Dre's biased.
Is the bias?
You was gonna say that.
No, I'm gonna ask it because here's the bias, because we all have it. I've been a leader most of my life, a Black woman in white organizations, and I probably struggled with Black men more than I did sometimes with white men because they expected more of me. And I don't know why. And sometimes we have to look at that, especially because when we see Black women, we first see our sister and our mamas. No matter what job, it's just innate what we do. And then you start thinking about your wife, and then you start thinking about this and that, and then you get to the job, and it's just how people's psyche can work. And sometimes you have to ask yourself, are you really asking us for more than you would ask for other people?
Can
and so for sure, I'm going to say,
can I respond to that?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, do you know who Captain Danita Pettis is?
Yes, and that was terrible. Yes.
Okay.
I do. I'm
No,
not
I'm just
combating
what I'm
any
saying
of the
to
bad
you.
stuff.
What I'm saying to
Do you
you.
know what record night is?
No, let me finish. Reason I said that is because I was one of the few, if not the only one, vocally Black men that took up for Sister Danita Pettis. I was very vocal on my page. I spoke out on the foolishness. I called people out on what they did against her. Just recently, her picture wasn't down at the police academy, and I called them out. Now it is. So there's a lot of things that I'm still in when it deals with my strong Black women. And truthfully, Sister Danita Pettis should be assistant chief. She should be the first Black female assistant chief this city has ever had. And one of the reasons why I wasn't a Thigi fan is because Thigi went after Captain Pettis because Captain Pettis was a threat. She's the type of Black woman that when she walks into a room, they're gonna look at her and say, "Is that the chief?" So DG understood. I got to get her up out of here. And when she got fired wrongfully, and even when the FOP went through all the information, they looked at all the records and they even said on the media it was egregious how she was terminated, and it should never happen. She got a lawsuit. So I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna stand up for my Black sisters in every regards. But if I'm gonna give you some counsel in the process as well, and say, city manager, there's some things that you're doing that just don't make any sense, and it's knee-jerk reactions, and we getting all these returns in the process. I'm just saying that I would love for the sister to do better, but doing the things that she's been doing, she'll never get a glowing report on those particular levels.
She already got a glowing report from her
Here's my
supervisor.
question. Did you have a relationship with, and I don't mean an inappropriate, did you have a relationship with the person we were talking about before that you think should be the chief and assistant chief? Do you have a relationship with them and you kind of understand what they've gone through and what they're going through that makes you like really and truly say I support them?
Well, actually, when she was my supervisor as a sergeant, okay. and Kevin to tell you this, it was the Black Sentinel organization. I'm a Black organization kicked her out of the Sentinel organization. They was in cahoots with Thigi to help. Now she's the first Black female that got kicked out of a Black organization that was established to help defend civil rights and Black people. So that's why I tell you this thing runs real deep. But they said she was mean, she was rude. When I saw her as a Black woman and she had on her stripes, Sergeant Pettis, now Lieutenant Pettis, now Captain Pettis. I don't even call her Danita even today, because I know as a Black woman, she still needs that respect when we're in public. So what I'm telling you is through the process, I was never offended by a strong Black woman saying, "Hey, Officer Ewing, I want you to go on patrol and do this post." Yes, ma'am. I respect that. And so at the end of the day, I still will give counsel when counsels do on what you are doing and how you're going about it to improve how you may manage a process. And I'm not going to bite my tongue on that.
Okay, so the answer is yes. You have a relationship, and you know her probably in the full sense of knowing her. She was your supervisor, this and that. And so sometimes when we know, then we're able to look and see how people are doing, and we're more open to the good and the bad because we know everyone comes with it. That's probably what I'm saying about Cheryl. Is you say holistically, I look at the full person, and I try to do that with everyone I encounter. And you look at the good and the bad. And that's all I'm saying about Cheryl. I'm not defending anything that she shouldn't have done. I'm just saying that even as a community, shouldn't we be looking at the entire picture? And then if we need to ask questions, go ask questions. Go figure out how to get in our office and ask the question. And sometimes just having open conversations with people help you understand, or maybe you'll find out there's things you didn't even know. That's the only thing I'm saying about let's be a little bit fair on this.
Oh,
is that your phone?
I've said
is that your phone, Landis?
I love to have open conversations. I've even told people on my page, call me. Let's talk. Let's have conversations. Let's sit down. It's better that we work together than working apart. I mean, and Nathan, a show that I've been on the show. Cross your eyes, Nathan. I know you got to hype it up, but I've been on the show even publicly. I was like, Iris, let's work together. I said both of us together can work a lot of more issues out than apart. So at the end of the day, I'm about. That's why I keep saying I'm not here to take sides. I'm here to save lives. Let's sit down at the table and I'll have a conversation with anybody.
Yeah.
All right, I have to go.
think,
I'm getting ready to enjoy.
okay,
I'm getting
man,
ready to enjoy the Black weekend.
Yes,
I'm gonna have a really
Enjoy.
good
In
your
time.
Black
We're
City.
not gonna have
in the Black
look,
City, the blackest city
we're
on
not
earth,
gonna have
right here is
any
Chocolate City.
brawls. We're gonna speak it into existence that we just gonna have a good time. They're gonna figure out what to do with those 40 food trucks. We're gonna tell people to go come buy some food, whatever. And I'm gonna say let's just celebrate and have a good weekend. At least that's my plans. But y'all take care.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Bye-bye.
ladies. Thank you. Yep.
Well, that's all I got, guys. Appreciate you.
No doubt.
Appreciate your time. We've
Yeah,
been going
man,
at it for about
everybody-
a couple hours. All right, guys, I'll let you get back to your weekend. And hope you have a great weekend.
Yeah.
The weather's great today. I hope it stays that way.
It's supposed to be a great weekend all weekend. It's got great
Excellent.
weather for the music festival and all the stuff that's going on. So if you out there, have a good time, be safe, enjoy yourself, and we'll get back to our disagreements
Yeah,
next
next
week.
week we'll bring it up. Raven says she'll try to join us on Tuesday. So
Who'd you
Raven,
say who
Raven,
is?
she
Oh,
something came
yeah,
up last
okay.
minute today. She said she'll try to join us on Tuesday. So hey, thanks everybody, Dina and Carolyn and Sister Iris and Ed and TNT. Appreciate you, and Tony and all the good people, Staban and Dina, everybody. I know I'm leaving a whole bunch of names out. I really appreciate you, Ed. Thank you for checking us out. You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube. That's where the show is live. We're also on Instagram, TikTok, and Fanbase, and you'll get clips on those other platforms. So have a great weekend, and we'll talk real soon.